This is complete politics with Chukwuma Okoro. Take a listen.
Both the verdict and the sentence came as a huge surprise to me. First of all, this is a classic case of someone being convicted solely on words he had uttered from elsewhere, not even from Nigerian soil. For instance, the judge reeled out what was purported to be broadcasts made by Nnamdi Kanu from his location in the UK during the NSAS protests. And the judge relied or pivoted on that as one of the bases upon which he granted the conviction. But guess what? A lot of people died during the NSAS. A lot of them were innocent citizens. Notably, a lot were massacred at Lekki Toll Gate. And the NSAS report from Lagos State, mainly, and from Abia State, never indicted Mazen Nnamdi Kanu or any member of IPOB or anything IPOB. But you see, the judge just went too far in extrapolating that NSAS incident and blaming it solely on Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and not on any overt act, any physical act that he committed on the soil of Nigeria, but solely on speeches or broadcasts he made or utterances he might have made from his location in the UK. So that one is number one. Number two is that the judge also made references to utterances Mazen Nnamdi Kanu made in the United States as far back as 2014, before the World Igbo Congress event. That was 9 years ago. And then, just a statement that one could say was mere puffery. We need guns, we need this and all that. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, 9 years later, you said you now grounded a conviction on the claim that that statement led to the death of someone in Nigeria. You see, they have thousands of IPOB or so-called IPOB, alleged IPOB members in detention, and none came forward. They never extracted any confession, which was tendered in court, linking Nnamdi Kanu's utterances of speeches or broadcasts to any actual violence or crime or act of terrorism in Nigeria. None whatsoever.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I will come back to you in a minute.
Ordinarily, I'm not too surprised, based on the events, of how this case started, By the way, I'm a lawyer also, so I kind of understand how, it has come to this point. However, for me, criminality against the state, I try to separate it into different forms. You have economic criminality against the state. We'll be talking about corruption and all those other things. Social criminality, we'll be talking about murder, kidnapping, arson, and so on and so forth like that. Then we also have political criminality. This area is very wide. It's very wide, depending on how you see it. The actions of certain group of persons, tend to undermine, codified laws of the state. It's what they call all this subversion and all those things, like that. But you see, it is not generally acceptable by all the parties concerned. If a group of persons feel for reasons best to their interests, says this is how they feel, if you tell them at that point that they are committing crime against the state, they will not accept it. They will rather want you to take out what is making them, react, in that form, for you or for everybody to say, yes, a crime has been committed. I don't want to go far into many examples. If not, I'll be talking about, why some people say there's genocide somewhere, and some people say, no, there's no genocide, somewhere. So you that is feeling it, So most political criminality issues, it's not today. It started many years ago. Then Nelson Mandela, they went through such trials, Nkrumah, even in Nigeria, even the perceived winner of our June 12th election, was convicted based on, political criminality. So for me, when we get into the topic of political criminality, my first response to handling this matter is also political. Political criminality, I rather suggest that we should explore every alternative dispute resolution techniques before we begin to talk about, all this. I listened attentively to the judge as he was delivering, the judgment. I did not see anywhere that the gentleman was tried, for murder. If not, would have had people coming to testify that he killed this. The people who died would have been mentioned. All the first, second, third count, 4, 5, as it may be, the utterances, statements made. I was born in Saple, all this kind of talk. We have heard them many times. We don't take them, seriously. But in any case, all the things he said, were words that the state wants to hear. But I did not hear when he said that the issues in the Southeast can be resolved if they give him 20 minutes or a few days. There are some cases, you don't just bother yourself. If the state or the powers that be, are fixed, their mind, on it. Look,
and is that your
many other instances like that? If you feel you are not getting, judgment the way you like, why continue?
Right. Okay.
Even in election.
Thank you very much, Charles. First, I never expected that the case would last this long, because my impression about the matter is, like the honorable member from Delta State said, quite political. I was imagining that long before now, it should have been taken out of court through what attorneys call nulli prosecution, so that the tension in the land, or the disturbances in the Southeast, which existed prior to this time, will probably, have been mitigated on account of the release of somebody who has been identified as a symbol of the struggle, of the youths, or the sentiments that often resonates in that region, as the case could be. So ordinarily, I was expecting that it should have been resolved long before now. But there are also some other issues that kept arising. The personality in question appears to be somebody who is somewhat tempestuous. We'll keep seeing him in calls and in places appearing slightly unrepentant, as the case could be, consistently fairy, things that could also continuously be irritating to the powers that are interested in prosecuting him. And of course, in the build-up towards the end, the business end of the trial, lawyers who are trained in the business of defending and prosecuting, supposedly or were reported to have pulled out, from around him, that he was going to defend himself. This is somewhat strange, and I'm wondering, I started wondering how he was going to pull this through successfully. So what we are seeing now appears really predictable, but there's also a room, a reason for us to be gratified that the judge didn't give, a death sentence. Life imprisonment, still gives some more room for some window, some positive window. And of course, we also still know that higher courts are still there. The appeal court is there. The Supreme Court is also still there. There might be some room in the future for the judgment to be reversed or to be reviewed, as the case could be. And again, political solution is still a continuous thing, something that can still continue. The narrative is not ended yet. In the future, there might still be a need for us to have some consequential review, remembering that in recent years we have had government pardoning all kinds of people, So in the future, we might see some government, without prejudice toward this appeal court, the Supreme Court will say in respect of Nnamdi Kanu. We might still have some political solution to the case, because what it means with Nnamdi Kanu remaining in prison is that, something is still missing in nation-building efforts, we know what he represents.